Good morning. We are in Ecclesiastes, about the 9th verse. About the 9th verse. About the 9th verse. That's the quickest I think it's ever calmed down. All this I saw, I applied my mind to everything done under the sun. There is a time when a man lords it over others to his own hurt. Then too I saw the wicked buried, those who used to come and go from the holy place and receive praises in the city where they did this. This too is meaningless.
Where are you?
Oh, do you mean to tell me that y'all were talking when I announced that we were in Ecclesiastes, the 8th chapter, and about verse 9? Oh, do you know what? Okay, here as should be done, as an elder of the church here in this place. When I am wrong, I need to be able to admit that I am wrong. Because now that you said that, I was looking at the 9th verse, and I think I said the 9th chapter. So there it is. I was wrong. And don't... No, you don't get that twice, Dee Dee. We're in the 8th chapter, the 9th verse. I apologize for that. But I don't apologize for getting on to them for talking.
What version are you reading from?
What version am I reading from? Not the version that the apostles used. I'm not reading from the King James. I am actually reading from the NIV. And I really like the King James version better, but it's easier to teach out of the NIV. It's easier to facilitate a class. I never claimed to be a teacher. I'm more of a facilitator. So, time when a man lords it over to their own hurt. Sometimes, what does lord it over mean? Control. That maybe that you have somebody else do something that you ain't going to do yourself because you're too good to do that. I think that's a whole lot about what lorded over means. But wicked, and there's times that a lot of times the wicked lord it over. Say it again. Delegate. Well, I hate to say it like that because when you say, to me it's a little different because to lord it over is different than delegate, because if I delegate something because I don't have enough time to do it, not that I wouldn't do it myself, I think lording it over is more that you're making somebody do something or wanting somebody to do something that you don't do yourself. Yes?
Is that verse 9 you're talking about?
Verse 9.
Okay, and I use the ESV.
The what?
ESV.
Okay.
And it says, when man had power over man to his hurt.
To his hurt. That's what I'm saying. So you're doing something, you're making somebody else do something that's not going to be good for them. Or that is not something you wouldn't hurt yourself, would you? But I'll have you do that because it'll hurt you. There you go. Okay. Then too, I saw the wicked bury those who used to come from the house of the holy place and receive praise in the city. So, wicked, righteous. The wicked sometimes buries the righteous. You know, I mean, there's nothing new. It's we're going to read on, but there's nothing new. When a sentence for a crime is not quickly carried out, the people's hearts are filled with schemes to do wrong. Although a wicked person who commits 100 crimes may live a long time and know that it will be good, it will go better with those who fear God and who are reverent before Him. Yet because the wicked do not fear God, it will not go well for them, for their days will not lengthen like shadows. They say the death penalty is not a deterrent to crime. Would be by you, but yeah. When sentence isn't carried out quickly, then what do people start thinking about? Say it again. Justifiable homicide. See, now that makes me kind of leery that my daughter is already thinking about stuff like that.
Vigilantism is not a bad word in some people's mouth.
And that's what it's talking about. When a sentence isn't carried out, it's like there's no punishment. There's no, you do bad, so no big deal.
That's like threatening a child with a punishment and letting him go on to do the same thing and not carrying out.
You mean not carrying out the punishment that you said? If you do that, I'm going to put you in timeout. I mean, that's what we do now, right? We put them in timeout. Yeah, I just want to make sure I was politically correct on that. Yeah, back in my day, I'm going to tell this story because back in my day, my mom, I would do something, my mom would whip me for it. And I say whip, it was a little switch and a little peach limb. And so one day I did something and said, do you want it now or do you want it when your daddy gets home? And this was like early in the morning, and I said, I want it when daddy gets home. You'll forget about it before then. About 5 minutes before Daddy got home, she looked at me again and said, now, do you want to go ahead and do it now? Or do you want to wait till Daddy gets home? And I said, I believe I'll go ahead and take it now. Thank you. Mom carried out those sentences quickly. And it mattered. Now, you don't carry out a sentence, people get by with things. People begin to think that life is, I can do whatever I want to. There's really no consequences for it. But it says, because the wicked do not fear God, and they can get by with doing hundreds of thousands of hundreds of things and get by with it for a long time, it will not go well with them. It will not go well with them. There's something else meaningless that occurs on the earth. The righteous who get the righteous who get what the wicked deserve, and the wicked get what the righteous deserves. You ever see that in life today? Yeah. This too, I say, is meaningless. So I command the enjoyment of life Because there is nothing better for a person under the sun than to eat and drink and be glad. Then joy will accompany them in their toil all the days of their life. God has given them under the sun. Why is that why to eat and drink and be glad? How can you have joy with that if you don't have God? Okay. When I applied my mind to know all wisdom and to observe the labor that is done on the sun, people getting no sleep day or night, then I saw all that God had done. Not one can comprehend what goes on under the sun, despite all their efforts to search it out. No one can discover its meaning. Even if the wise claim they know, they cannot really comprehend it. Solomon was wise. I mean, he was wise. And he probably wiser than some of the people in this room. I know he's wiser than I am because I'm not very wise. But as wise a person as you think you are, can you comprehend what God has done or what God is doing, what his intent is, what his motivation is? Can you know? Quiet bunch today. There's some promises he made. So how do we know? Through his truth, through his words, through what he revealed to us. But he also told us that there are things that you're just not going to know. That's right. So we can think that we know. Just because we think we know does not mean that what we're thinking is necessarily what God's thinking. In fact, the business, it's probably not. It's probably not what God's thinking. All right, we're into chapter 9. That got me to the end of last week's lesson. Now we'll start this week's. So I reflected on all that is concluded in the righteousness and the wisdom. What they do are in God's hands. All the righteous, I'm flubbing up my reading this morning. I've had a long morning already, so just kind of bear with me. So I reflected on all this and concluded that the righteous and the wise and what they do are in God's hands. But no one knows whether love or hate awaits them. All share a common destiny. The righteous and the wicked, the good and the bad, the clean and the unclean, those who offer sacrifices and those who do not. As it is with the good, so with the sinful. As it is with those who take an oath, so with those who are afraid to take an oath. There is an evil in everything that happens under the sun. The same destiny overtakes all. The heart of people, moreover, are full of evil, and there is madness in their hearts while they live, and afterwards they join the dead. Anyone who is among the living has hope. Even a live dog is better than a dead lion. For the living know that they will die, but the dead know nothing. They have no farther reward, and even their name is forgotten. Their love, their hate, their jealousy have all long since vanished. Never again will they have a part in anything that happens under the sun. So what happens? Good or bad? We're going to die. And when we die, what do we have to do with this earth anymore? What if we left a good name? What if we left a good name?
Even there, eventually, it's going to be forgotten.
It's going to be forgotten. Thomas Sullivan, buried, or service was right here yesterday. One of the people in the service called him a legend. And he was. For now, at this time. 100 years from now, will he still be a legend? 200 years from now, will there even be any memory? Oh, there will.
200 years from now, you go back and you look at the Burke County registry.
Okay, let's say the registry gets messed up.
But I mean, that's how history is perpetuated. That's how God's word was compiled, was because it was put into a written form for people to read at some point.
Whose word?
But it goes back to,
God's word.
it goes back to,
God's word.
is it going to be in existence?
That's right. It may not even be here 200 years from now.
Passes away,
Well,
then you get to heaven, names are.
no. What if the earth ends?
Or this country.
Or this country's gone and records dissolved, or there's what the point is as do I know who my great grandfather is? I could find out. Do I know? No, I don't. Because what happened back there doesn't really change who I am today here. That person had no influence on my life. And when I say that, I don't mean that bad. There can be good influences and bad influences. But that person didn't shape who I am because I was never around them. That person didn't do, I have no bond to that other than some of their blood may run through my veins. But that's it. Mom took me to the cemetery one time and said, "This is your great-great-granddad, and this is your great-granddad, and this was your granddad. And don't you want to know all this?" And I said, "Mom, I really don't." Now, there's a lot of people that do genealogy, and I'm not knocking that. I'm talking about me. But I look at that and I say, it doesn't matter what they did, because I do know back in my family on the grandmother's side, there was one that was an axe murderer. Do I want to associate with that? Do I want that to be part of who I am? No. But it doesn't matter who's back here. It doesn't make any difference. And the thing about it is, it really doesn't matter who's up there. Because once I have the influence over me and my kids and grandkids, and I'm gone, I have no more influence over them. But who does? Who's the one that we do have the record of? Who's the one that created us? Who's the one that tells us how to live? Who's the one that should mold our life? God. And so it goes back to that wicked or not, wicked or not. We can either trust in God or not. It's our choice. But it's each individual's choice. I don't get to choose for my wife, and I don't get to choose for my daughter. Each one has to choose for themselves. I can try to have an influence, but I can't make anyone do anything other than myself. The same destiny overtakes us all. Whether we're the good, whether we're the bad, death hits every one of us. And it's better that we're alive today, right now, because if we aren't doing right, we have a chance to make it right. Because once you're dead, it's over. Your destiny is sealed, and if you go back up to verse 1, your soul is in God's hand. No one here can say, where do you go? Where you're headed? No one here can tell you that. Only God. Go eat your food with gladness, drink your wine with a joyful heart, for God has already approved what you do. Always be clothed in white, and always anoint your head with oil. Enjoy life with your wife whom you love all the days of this meaningless life with God that God has given you under the sun, all your meaningless days. For this is your lot in life, and in your toilsome labor under the sun. Whatever your hands find to do, do it with all your might. For in the realm of the dead where you go, there is neither work nor planning, nor knowledge nor wisdom. Always be clothed in white. Always anoint your head with oil. And enjoy life with your wife. What do you think that means? You quiet people today.
Life is what you make it. And if you're going to make it a good life and follow God's will, then you're ready to go to heaven at whatever point. Strike down, illness, whatever, you're ready. You're in life, but you're as sin-free as possible because of your life. And if you're not, then, well, you made your choices, and life is not going to go well from that point forward.
Clothe yourself in white. When you think that means serve God. Be on the white side. Be on the right side. Anoint yourself with oil. Try to be healthy. Try to keep yourself in shape. I can't always say I've done that, but enjoy life with your wife. And I'm going to say, since I look out here and I see a lot more women than men, I'm going to say, I think this is generically speaking, that enjoy life with your husband. Enjoy life. But enjoy it under the realms that I am doing what God wants me to do. I'm living the way God wants me to live. Yes, ma'am.
What is that? I don't understand the next part of that verse where it says meaningless life.
Say it again.
God is enjoy life with your wife.
without God, life is meaningless. And that's what I think what he's trying to say here, and throughout the whole book, I think what he's trying to say is, and we talked about this a couple of times already, this is really a downer book. I mean, it's really a downer book because it talks about how it's just, life is terrible, nothing is good, nothing is great, it's just a terrible. Life is terrible. The wicked, I mean, everything.
Because Christ wasn't born.
Do what?
I think it's because Christ wasn't born.
Well, but God was still in the picture. So,
I think this is all about people put emphasis about earthly things. And he's trying to tell people that nothing about the earth is going to last.
That's exactly right.
Everything, and it's all about God. All about God. And everything about your life doesn't mean anything. It's all about God. That's what the whole thing's about.
That's what the whole thing. Life is, without God, it's a meaningless life. Now,
But why say, enjoy this, and do this, anoint this?
under this meaningless life, do this, and it won't be meaningless. Yes. Go ahead. Yeah, you.
The Amplified translation is rather than meaningless life, it says fleeting life.
Fleeting life, ending life. Very, very. It makes a little better sense that way. But the whole book is talking about physical life. Physical life. Whether you're a Christian or whether you believe in God or whether you don't believe in God, this is life. This is what it is. The rivers run into the sea, but the sea never fills up. It's labor, labor, labor. I can't say labor again because Dee Dee already got on to me about saying labor before. But it just goes on and on and on. One generation comes, the next generation goes. It just keeps on going and going and going and going and going. It's like there's no end to it, no point to it. What's the point of all this? What's going on? Well, now we've learned that, guess what? You can be as wise a person as you ever was, but you're not going to know what's going on.
But when good things happen, and we're happy, whether it's family or friends or job or whatever, back to chapter 5:18 through 20, it tells you that's a gift of God.
It's a gift to God. That's right. I've seen something else under the sun. The race is not to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, nor the food comes to the wise, or wealth to the brilliant, or favor to the learned. But time and chance happens to them all. Moreover, no one knows when their hour will come. Fish are caught in a cruel net, or birds are taken in a snare. So people are trapped by evil times that fall unexpectedly upon them. Heard it said that if you are a Christian, you do what God says, that you'll be rich and that you'll never want for anything physically. And that's not true. That's not, That's not what the Bible says. But there are men, there are people who proclaim to be gospel preachers who preach that if you are what you need to be and that you serve God and you give your life to Christ, you will have untold monetary wealth. No, he ain't read Job.
Well, and that's if you contribute a certain amount to this also.
Say it again.
That's if you contribute a certain amount to this.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah. You have to pay money to get that information. I mean, you have to know. You have to let pay a little bit in, so much down, a little bit a month. So, time and chance. I knew a guy that could take a plastic bottle that was empty, pick it up, and before he got it up very high, there would already be like half full of money. I don't know how everything he touched turned to gold. I could go over and be standing by that plastic bottle, and the police officer would come give me a ticket for littering, and I didn't put it there. Some people have it. Some people know how to do, and the way things happen is time and chance. Time and chance happens to us all. Not everybody. People think, well, if I can do it, you can do it. That's not necessarily true. Because the only way you got it was because that's the way it happened for you. Not necessarily the way it happens for everyone else. Time and chance happens to us all. I also saw under the sun this example of wisdom that greatly impressed me. There was once a small city with only a few people in it, and a powerful king came against it, surrounded it, and built a huge sage work around it, a big hedge around it, a big... Now, there lived in the city a poor man, but wise, and he saved the city by his wisdom. But nobody remembers that poor man. Evidently, they didn't put it down in the history books, did he? So I said, wisdom is better than strength. But the poor man's wisdom is despised, and his words are no longer heeded. The quiet words of the wise are more to be heeded than the shout of a ruler of fools. Wisdom is better than a weapon of war, but one sinner destroys much good. That was another thing that was said in the service yesterday about listening to what Thomas Hullum said. Because he had words of wisdom, but did you really think of Thomas as just a wealthy? You didn't. I didn't. Y'all might have. I thought Thomas was just like us, or like me, just making every day count. Just make every day count. Do what? Yeah. The wise don't necessarily have to be rich. Time and chance happens to us all. As dead flies give perfume, a bad smell, so a little folly outweighs wisdom and honor. The heart of the wise inclined to the right, but the heart of the fool to the left. Even as fools walk along the road, they lack sense and show everyone how, mine says stupid, I don't like that word, but it says stupid they are. For a ruler's anger rises up against you. Do not leave your post. Calmness can lay great offense to rest. There is an evil that I've seen under the sun, the sort of evil that rises from rulers. Fools are put into many high places, while the rich occupy the lowest ones. I've seen slaves on horseback, while princes go on foot like slaves. There's a lot in those verses right there. I mean, there's a lot right there. the heart of the fool inclines, the heart of the wise inclines to the right, the heart of the fools inclines to the left. There is so much difference in the way we think, in the way that people are. It's just unreal to me. I always thought that everybody thought like I thought. But guess what? I have discovered that there ain't nobody thinks like I think. That's probably a good thing. Probably a real good thing. You ever seen anybody? You ever seen a fool in high places? At the beginning of this, I said I'm not getting into politics. But some of this I can't help. I can't help it because the statements are so true. The statements are so true. And you think, well, today it's worse than it's ever been. No, it ain't. It ain't nothing new under the sun, because it's been the same way year after year after year after generation after generation after generation. There's nothing new under the sun. There's going to be people in places they don't need to be. There's going to be people that should be in places that won't step up and take those places. There's going to be wars, and there's going to be rumors of wars. There's going to be all kinds of things. And you say, well, this had never happened before. Yes, it has. Yes, it has. It's happened before. We're going to start in verse 8 next week. That'll be chapter 10, verse 8. Next week, I want you to come with a little more comments, because I'm supposed to be a facilitator. I need more comments. Thank you very much this morning, and we'll see what else we can get into next week.